psychic. James Kenmore was a psychic. People say, "A real psychic sees through time and space." It is a strange power. Not many people really have that power. James Kenmore was a very successful psychic. Rich people paid a lot of money for his help. They came to his office on Tremont Street. There they spoke to his receptionist, and the receptionist took them to his room. Brent had a big Cadillac car. He lived in a beautiful house. He was 50 years old. He loved his wife and his 2 sons, and they loved him. But Kenmore was not always successful. Oh, no. For the first 35 years of his life, he was a failure. He started life a failure. He started without a father or a mother. People found the baby James Kenmore on a Boston bus. Maybe his mother left him there. The bus carried people from downtown Boston to Kenmore Square, so they gave that name to the baby. He grew up in an orphanage with 50 other children without mothers or fathers. The orphanage was 10 miles outside of Boston. At the age of 10, James Kenmore was in trouble with the police. He stole things from stores. He had to go to a home for bad children. At the age of 15, he stole a car. For this, he had to go to a boys' prison. At 19, he was in trouble with the police again, and he went to a men's prison for the first time. Why? Because he stole things from houses. Kenmore was in prison for 7 of the next 10 years. He went there for 2 years, and then 2 years again, and then 3 years. Between those times in prison, he always started work in a real job. But he didn't like his work, and he was soon in trouble again. The life of a thief was interesting, and his job wasn't interesting. But he was not a smart thief. The police always caught him. At the age of 30, they caught him again, and he went to prison for 5 years. In prison, he met Stanley Tremaine. Stanley Tremaine was a con man. He got money from people by tricks. He was a smart con man. The police never caught him up to the age of 50. Then he tried a very big trick. They caught him, and he went to prison for 7 years. Tremaine and Kenmore were soon friends. The other men in the prison were surprised. Tremaine was from a good family, and from the best schools, and from Harvard University. There was a great difference between him and Kenmore, but Kenmore had promise. Tremaine saw that. For one thing, the young man didn't look like a thief. He didn't look like a boy from an orphanage. And Kenmore wasn't really stupid. Tremaine saw that too. The young man was smart. For 3 years, Tremaine was Kenmore's teacher. Kenmore read books, and Tremaine helped him understand them. Tremaine taught Kenmore to speak good English, and he taught him the tricks of a con man. Tremaine liked Kenmore, but that was not the only reason for his trouble. He was old, and he needed help with his tricks. Kenmore understood Tremaine's reason, and he wanted to learn. He wanted to be a con man, but he never worked with Tremaine.
"You're going to leave prison next month,"
the old man said one day.
"Get a good apartment for us on a good street in Boston, and wait for me. You can use my money. I'll give you a check."
2 days after that, the old con man died suddenly in the prison. Kenmore was very sad. Kenmore left prison, but this was a new James Kenmore. This was not just an unsuccessful thief. The new James Kenmore knew a lot about the world. He spoke good English, and he knew all the tricks of the con man. But he had to think.
I know the tricks. I've learned them from Stanley Tremaine. But can I use them? I've always been a failure. Can I be a successful con man?
He had Tremaine's money, It was only $800, but it gave Kenmore time to think about things. He took a small apartment on a good street. He bought some clothes. Then for a month he just lived quietly. He wanted to think.
The trouble is, I'm afraid. Without Tremaine, I'm afraid to try a real trick. I need experience. Can I get people to trust me?
He remembered some words of Stanley Tremaine.
People trust psychics, but a lot of psychics are really con men. They pretend to help people, but they are really trying to learn facts about them. Then, they use the facts to get money from those people.
Kenmore thought about that.
Maybe I can pretend to be a psychic. I'll be careful, and it will be good experience.
In Boston, people often put up advertisements around town, on lampposts, telephone poles, and trees. They write their advertisements, things to buy or sell, on a piece of paper and tape these signs to the lampposts.
I'll put signs up around town.
He thought carefully about the words for his signs. Then he copied them on pieces of paper, and he put them up all around town. There wasn't any result. His telephone didn't ring. He put more signs up. He waited in his apartment all day. He sat near the telephone. No result. It didn't ring.
I'm near the end of Stanley Tremaine's money. Am I going to have to steal things again? I wanted to be a con man, not a stupid thief. I have to try again.
He made more signs and put them up. He waited beside the telephone. After 2 days it rang. A woman's voice said, "I saw your advertisement. Can I come to see you now?" James Kenmore, psychic, had his first client. It was really very easy. The woman was going to start a new job. She wanted to know, "Will I be happy in the job?" Kenmore talked to her for an hour. She told him a lot about her life and her likes. She will like the job, he thought. But it was only a guess. He pretended to go into a trance. When he came out of the trance, he told her,
You'll love the job. It's just right for you.
She happily paid $10. A month after that, she sent him a check for another $50. "My job's very, very good," her letter said. "I'm really happy in it." Kenmore was surprised. A lot of money, so easily. Just for a good guess. He put up his signs again. Another client soon arrived, a man. His wife was dead, and he was very unhappy. Kenmore made another guess.
He wants a message from his dead wife.
He thought. He talked to the man for an hour. He learned a lot about the dead wife. Then he went into a trance. He pretended to hear the dead wife. He spoke for her. The man wanted to hear a message, and Kenmore gave him the right message. The man heard the words and cried. He was very happy. He gave Kenmore $50.
I'll come back soon for another message from her,
he said. For the next year, James Kenmore, psychic, was successful. He put advertisements in the newspapers, and the newspaper advertisements brought clients. His old clients sent him new clients. He didn't always please a client, but after his mistakes, clients still gave him money. And he didn't often make a mistake. He really helped the client, not because he saw through time and space, but just because he understood things, and the client didn't. A lot of people only wanted to talk about their troubles. Kenmore had a good face and the right voice for them. Then a strange thing happened. One day a man came to ask Kenmore about an old gun.
Who stole it? Who is the thief? Where is the gun? The police have tried to find it, but they haven't been successful. I want the gun. It's very old, from George Washington's time, and my dead father gave it to me.
Kenmore didn't like the case. With cases of this kind, he was nearly always a failure. He liked to make a clever guess, but guesses didn't work in cases of this kind. But he didn't want to say that. He told the man,
I'll try to help you.
He closed his eyes. It happened then, the strange thing. A bell rang in his head. It was a quiet sound, soft and strange and far away. It rang, and pictures came into his head. He started to speak.
I can see it. I can see your old gun. Yes, but it isn't clear. I can't see it clearly. The shape changes. It changes all the time. Oh, that's it. It's in water. It's under some water, and it's not far away.
Not far away from here?
Yes, no, not far from here. It's not far away from you, from your house. It's less than half a mile from your house, and it's underwater. And that's all.
Kenmore tried to open his eyes, but the world went black. He fainted. After a while, the light came back. He opened his eyes and saw his client. The man asked,
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
But you fainted. Does that always happen?
Well, no, not always. But I'm all right now. Was it a long time, my faint?
No, maybe a minute.
Oh.
Kenmore tried to remember his words, but he was not successful. So he asked,
Did I help you?
Can't you remember?
No, I never can. That is, I never remember my words in a trance.
Well, you said, I can see your old gun. It's in water. That's not right.
Kenmore thought,
No, it can't be right.
but he didn't say that. He said,
Maybe it is right. I'm often right. Where did I tell you to look?
The man sighed unhappily.
You didn't tell me. Just, it's underwater and not far away from my house. Who steals an old gun and puts it in water?
Kenmore didn't know the answer. The man sighed again.
There is a pond near my house. We'll look in that, but, well, what do I have to pay?
I don't want any money. Maybe you'll find your gun in the pond. Then you can send me a check. I'm not going to ask for it.
The man left. He was not very happy. Then Kenmore thought about it.
That was strange. Why did I faint? Am I sick? That strange bell sound. Do I have to go to the doctor? And why did I say, maybe you'll find your gun in the pond? Who steals an old gun and then throws it in a pond?
The next day, Kenmore knew the answer to that question. The client came back to see him. He was very excited.
I found my gun. It was in the pond near my house. And there wasn't a thief. My little son took it. He just wanted to play with it, but he dropped it in the pond. And then he was afraid and he didn't tell us.
Kenmore was surprised, but the client went on.
You're a real psychic. You're wonderful. I'll tell all my friends about you. Please take this.
And he gave Kenmore $200. He left, and then Kenmore started to think. He wasn't happy. $200 was fine, but what did it mean?
It's all right to be a con man, but this is different.
He didn't want to be a real psychic or wonderful. He was afraid. But in 3 months it didn't happen again. Kenmore had a lot of clients. With some he was successful. With others he wasn't. But he only listened and made guesses, good ones or bad ones.
Maybe it was just the one strange dream. I'm not really a psychic. It's all right.
Then one day his doorbell rang. He went to the door and opened it. A tall man stood there.
Mr. Kenmore,
Yes.
I'm Detective Colson of the Boston Police Department.
A policeman. Kenmore didn't like the police.
But things are different now. I'm not a thief. They can't send me to prison for this psychic business. What can I do for you, Detective Colson?
You know a Mr. Sargent, don't you? A Mr. Ralph Sargent?
Yes, Kenmore knew him. Ralph Sargent was the man with the old gun.
I do. I helped him at one time.
I know. He talks about it a lot. He lives in the house next door to me.
Really?
Well, now, I don't think, people don't see through time and space. You understand.
Kenmore did understand. The detective wanted help.
I understand. You have a problem.
Yes, I do have a problem. She's gone. Just gone. We can't find her. A little girl. And I thought, Can I tell you about it?
Please do. Come in and sit down.
But Kenmore was not happy about it.
The police can't find her, so who can? I can't be successful. This is bad. I didn't want the police to know about me.
But he had to listen. Detective Coulson told him about the case. Kenmore understood easily, but he asked some questions.
The little girl went out to buy some candy. Is that right? She never returned home. The police have looked for her for a week.
But then he stopped. He heard it. The little faraway bell rang in his head. He was surprised and afraid.
Mr. Kenmore, are you all right?
Kenmore closed his eyes. Pictures came to him. He began to talk.
Yes, I can see. Oh, she's in the dark. The little girl is in the dark. But there's light far away. It's a tunnel. She's in a dark tunnel. And she's dead. Oh, she's dead. The little girl is dead.
Kenmore began to cry. The detective was excited. He asked,
And who did it? Mr. Kenmore, can you tell me that? Who killed her?
No,
But then it rang again. The faraway bell. He said,
I see a man. A man in a car. No, a van. It's a small blue and white van. That's it, Detective Coulson. Find that van, and then you'll have him. He did it. Killed the little girl. And that's all. That's all. Oh.
And the world went black for James Kenmore.